Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's afternoon devotional and Bible study. It is March 12th today, 2021. It has been a year. Well, technically, the year anniversary is tomorrow, but today's Friday, when I had to cancel drop-in for the pandemic because of the pandemic. So, looking back at the year before we get started with things, I know it's been a tough year for a lot of us. Mental health has been on the decline. Jobs, worrying about money, not connecting a ton with people. It's been challenging, and there's still a road ahead of us. But we've made it to this point. We can continue going forward. We need to work together to do that, and I do miss everyone. I miss going to the door, playing pool, playing basketball, doing silly things in the kitchen, doing art projects, playing video games with everyone, just doing all of that sort of jazz. So I do miss everyone. But on the same token, this year that's been so separate, there's been so many awesome ways of connecting with people. We've been doing a ton of stuff online. I've laughed a good hearty laugh every week during the pandemic, thanks to everyone coming out and playing like Jackbox or any of the other games that we're playing, doing this Bible study devotional online, getting into a routine of regularly reading my Bible in a devotional and not just kind of sitting there, read it and then be done, but having that reaction and stuff too has been great for me. There's been a lot of hurting, a lot of sadness, and being able to pray and connect with people. It's been challenging. So thank you for everyone that's come out, that's watched the video, that's commented, that's participated, that's called up a friend that may be alone or going through a bit of a tough time. Thank you for everyone that's been able to come alongside and partner with me. Thank you to just everyone for like your prayers and caring for other people. For those that are socially distancing, wearing masks, and washing your hands, you are saving lives. You're saving lives. Thank you so much. So before that's my big pre-ramble, looking back over the year, it's been a year that very easily could not have been filled with a whole lot, and I feel like I've had a very packed year, and it's one that's going to go down in the ages. Thank you for going on that journey around the sun with me. And yeah, now and we're still about a month away before I started reading this, because this started like April 1st. It's really cute, but it would be an awkward shot of my pants. My cat, once he sat down, went like this. So it was a bit distracting. Anyways, all right, we're going to get started with today's devotional. Jesus is calling. Yeah, let's get started with March 12th, 2021. Waiting, trusting, and hoping are intrinsic, I can't say that word. They're connected. Candace can't say the word either. Intrinsically, I can't say that. Intrinsically, I can't say the word. Connected, like golden standards interwoven to form a strong chain. Trusting is the central strand because it is the response from my children that I desire most. Waiting and hoping embellish the central stand and strengthen the chain that connects you to me. Waiting for me to work with your eyes on me is evidence that you really do trust me. If you mouth the words "I trust you" while anxiously trying to make things go your way, your words will ring hollow. Hoping is future directed, connecting you to your inheritance in heaven. However, the benefits of hope fall fully on you in the present. Because you are mine, you don't just pass time in your waiting. You can wait expectantly, in hopeful trust, keeping your innate or antennae out to pick up even the faintest glimmer of my presence. Your antennae to pick up the faintest glimmer of my presence. I don't know why that one was so hard for me to read. So I'm sorry. That was inspired by 3 different sections of the Bible. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. John 14:1. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Psalm 27:14. And then lastly, God did this so that by 2 unchangeable things in which is impossible for God to lie, who have fled to take hold of the hope offered to us, may be greatly encouraged. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain, where Jesus, who went before us, has entered on our behalf. He has become a high priest forever, in the order of Melchizedek. Hebrews 6:18-20. The idea, I like the idea in it, but for some reason it's just really hard for me to say process, and I apologize. That idea of saying I trust you while doing your own path, that's a mistake that we saw throughout the Old Testament with people claiming to want to follow Jesus, hearing his plans and going, all right, cool, I'm going to do this. That goes against the plan. And it's showing like some distrust and all of that jazz. So it's carrying through with that idea that God is with us throughout the day, I think is really, really important. And yeah. So now we're going to get into 2 Samuel chapter 10. And this is the one before the most famous part of 2 Samuel, which is the Bathsheba. You guys know the song Hallelujah. That's what we're going to be covering tomorrow. So this is what led up to Bathsheba bathing on the roof and all of that jazz, which we're going to get into tomorrow. Yesterday we talked about how David found a family member of Saul who was disabled and looked after him, reminding us that God cares about all of us, able body and not, able mind and not, and he loves us and wants to look after us and care for us, and how that echoes through to a lot of different things. So, without further ado, let's get into 2 Samuel chapter 10. Sometime after this, King Nahash of the Amorites died, and his son Hanun became king. David said, I am going to show loyal to Hanun, just as his father Nahash was always loyal to me. So David sent ambassadors to express sympathy to Hanun about his father's death. But when David's ambassadors arrived in the land of Ammon, the Amorite commanders said to Hanun, to their master, do you really think these men are coming here to honor your father? No, David has sent them to spy out the city so they can come in and conquer it. So Hanun seized David's ambassadors and shaved off each man's beard, cut off their robes at the buttocks, and sent them back to David in shame. When David heard what had happened, he sent messengers to tell the men, stay in Jericho until your beards grow, and then come back, for they felt deep shame because of their appearance. When the people of Ammon realized how seriously they had angered David, they sent and hired 2,000 Aramean foot soldiers from the lands of Beth Rehob and Zobah, 1,000 from king of Makkah, and 12,000 from the land of Tob. When David heard about this, he sent Joab and all his warriors to fight them. The Amorite troops came out and drew up their battle lines at the entrance of the city gate, while the Arameans from Zobah and Rehob and their men from Tob and Makkah positioned themselves to fight in the open fields. When Job saw that he would have to fight on both the front and the rear, he chose some of the Israelite elite troops and placed them under his personal command to fight the Arameans in the fields. He left the rest of the army under the command of his brother Abishai, sorry, who was to attack the Amorites. If the Arameans are too strong for me, then come over and help me. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my ringer. I'm a little bit all over the place today. I'm sorry. The Arameans are too strong for me, then come over and help me. Joab told his brother, and if the Amorites are too strong for you, I will come over and help you. Be courageous. Let us fight bravely for our people and the cities of our God. May the Lord's will be done. When Joab and his troops attacked, the Arameans began to run away. And when the Amorites saw the Arameans running, they ran from Abishai and retreated into the city. After the battle was over, Joab returned to Jerusalem. The Arameans now realized that they were no match for Israel. So when they regrouped, they were joined by additional Aramean troops, summoned by Hadadezer from the other side of the Euphrates River. These troops arrived at Helam under the command of Shobach, and commander of the Hadadezer forces. When David heard what was happening, he mobilized all Israel, crossed the Jordan River, and led the army to Helam. The Arameans positioned themselves in battle formation and fought against David. But again, the Arameans fled from the Israelites. This time, David's forces killed 700 charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers, including Shobach and the commander of their army. When all the kings allied with Hadadezer, when all of the kings that were aligned with him saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they surrendered to Israel and became their subjects. After that, the Arameans were afraid to help the Amorites. God add a blessing to the reading of his word. So we have this big battle there. Like, the thing that I see in here that we can take and apply right now is the Amorites, they listen to fear. Fear stopped them from being able to just accept a nice gift. They saw more stuff in it. They got paranoid, and in trying to defend themselves, they put themselves into harm's way. How many times have you acted in a distrusted way and it actually came back to bite you in the butt? Not saying don't be on guard, don't do that, but don't actively distrust everybody. You can be careful. They could have been cautious. The new king could have met them outside of the city walls. They could have, there's a lot of things that they could have done to show respect while still being careful, instead of actively going out of their way to mock and embarrass and challenge these people representing the king. They could have done it in a respectful way while still keeping their guard up, but instead they decided to strike first, and that led to so much more hurt, pain, and a war. And they ended up losing some of their allies because of their acting in fear and them also thinking, well, I'm better than that person, therefore I'm going to do this. So I'm going to strike first. And we're going to humiliate them because there's no way. This is the other thing. One of the things that came out of that too is how can my enemy care for me? There's no way that my enemy can care for me. Yes, I lost my dad, but what does David care? He's the king of an enemy nation. That's ridiculous. He's got to be up to something. Love for your enemies, sometimes genuinely caring for people, doesn't always get appreciated. It doesn't always get understood. It is countercultural. You should not, according to the world, love your enemy. You should not pray for those that are persecuting you. It makes a lot of sense not to do that. It makes a lot of sense in the world's eyes to look after number one and number one alone and screw everyone else that gets in the way. But that's not Jesus' way. Jesus chose to lay down his life. He chose to leave heaven, humble himself, and suffer through everything that he suffered. He sweat blood before he went to the cross after getting abandoned by so many people, knowing what was coming. I've never been in the position where I've been so stressed and so full of fear that I sweat blood. He did that for you and for me. One of the things that ends up hurting so many people is that idea of just got to look out for number one, and I did it all on my own. That's one of the brilliant things about being a Christian is we don't do it all on our own. I grew up without knowing my father, but God provided a ton of fatherly figures in my life. People to lead me. Some good male role models. Some female leaders that did the leadership of a traditional father in some ways. They had people come in and look after. Like, my mom had people looking out for her as we were growing up that were protecting us and caring for us. There was a community of people that helped me get to where I am now. And I'm thankful to every single one of them. Even going through this pandemic, even though I've been trying to be a servant to a lot of you guys have also been serving me. When I don't just worry about myself and I try to go out there and help others, it comes back. When you put love out into the world, it might not be accepted. It might not even be recognized right away because, there's got to be a selfish motive. Because if I was to do that, then I would be doing it for this reason. But stay consistent. Stay consistent. When I was growing up, there was a song by Korn called Mr. Rogers. And it was about how being the nice guy, you just felt like you were always stepped on. Watching that, I didn't even watch the Mr. Rogers documentary yet. I saw clips and his love and care for children's education and who he was. It was so nice. Like, it brought tears to my eyes. The ads did. So it's staying consistent. Yeah, I remember being angry and I felt like that Korn song where I was like, I'm a nice guy and I'm finishing last. I'm getting walked over. But I stuck to it because as I heard that song and I was identifying with that song, I was learning about Jesus. And Jesus said to stick to it. And I was starting to put some of his lessons into practice. And it took a while. But eventually people started seeing the love of God working through me. And they addressed it. They called it out even before I even realized what I was doing. It became such a part of my nature sometimes that it would just flow out. That's not me. That's Jesus. That's God transforming me. So staying on that path, doing the right thing, staying on that path and showing love is a difficult one to do. But it is one that reaps amazing rewards. Anyways, let's pray and let you guys get on with your Friday. AJC, awesome Jesus Christ. I thank you for today's lesson. um, as challenging as it can be to do the right thing, to be positive and put love out in the world, and it not get received well, or it go, well, there's an alternative motive, ulterior motive behind this. I don't trust this. I don't trust this. Let us be such a people of love and care and compassion that they see love without us even trying to show it off, that it just becomes such a part of us that we're just doing it, and it's trusted and it's seen. Use us, Lord, to be that in our communities, in our families, in our relationships, in our businesses, in our workplaces, on the street, in the grocery stores, at the fast food joints. And Lord, let us not be so defensive and paranoid that we need to strike first and make the situation worse as we're trying to protect ourselves from getting hurt, and actually making it so we're guaranteed to get hurt. Help us not just see ourselves as victims, constantly putting up walls and barriers, causing us to get hurt more and more and more and more as we get jaded more and more and more and more. Help us to be able to trust a little bit more. Help us to be able to accept love a little bit more. And if we have done situations that have made enemies of people that were not meaning to be our enemies, help us to reconcile that situation as you reconciled us to you. And thank you for your example on how you live this out. Amen. Lastly, I know I'm saving it for the very end. There's a rail worker that saw somebody coming up to my house, saw us leave because he was doing some stuff across the street, and he saw someone that he didn't recognize pull up to the house and get out and start walking, and there was a bit of a confrontation. It was my landlord. He was checking the river levels, but I went to pick up Candace from work, came back, got out of the car, and he was like, "Hey, is your landlord?" Described him to me. He thought that this guy might have been trying to rob us, so he acted in a way that he thought he was stopping a robbery. Thankfully, it wasn't. But he was just like, asked a couple questions. Things went calm, and he waited around for us to get back because we weren't gone for long, and he was let us know, and we could follow up, and we could have that peace of mind. But he did it in a way that he was like, he asked a couple questions, he got some information, and he protected a stranger, and that was a really awesome thing. So thank you to that gentleman. He was probably not going to see this, and but anyways, still a public thank you for protecting our place, and a thank you to our landlord for making sure that we're not going to get flooded again. And sometimes good actions can be misunderstood, and thankfully today it was just good actions. All right, have a great day. God bless.